Yes, yes. Yeah, definitely. Ah, okay. So I wanted to start today's session with the concept of on-premise and cloud. Okay. So there are two types of, uh, I would say data storage possibilities in a simplest term. One is on-prem, one is cloud. Okay. So let's say you are heading a startup and you have your own servers, you have your own database, okay, your own systems. So in that case, if you are saving everything on your own server, then that is classified as on-prem. Okay. Cloud is, in a simplest term, that you are using someone else's computer to store data. Okay. So let's say that if you are using AWS S3 buckets or Azure Analytics Services or Azure Cosmos DB or GCP's BigQuery, in all of those senses, that is the data stored on cloud. Okay. Now there are three or four types of cloud provider. One is Azure, definitely, then GCP, then AWS, and there is IBM, and there are some other people. But these four are the major players in the market. So the idea is that if you are using their services to store data, then you are using cloud. Okay. And if you are using your own servers, you have your own database engineers, you have your own server, then you are storing data on cloud or on-prem. Okay. So these are the two different things that we need to consider. And now that when we talk about Power BI, whenever we publish, I mean to say publish anything on Power BI server, that automatically gets stored at Azure. Okay. And that is a cloud. So this is the important concept. So just understand this now, and then I'll go to the other parts of our session. But this is something that you should know, that anything that you are stored within the territory of your organization, that is on-prem. Anything that you use these providers is cloud. Okay. Even the simplest, let's say if you have a document and you want to take a backup and you keep it on Gmail, right, or G Drive, in that sense also you are using cloud. Okay. So that's how it works, and then I'll quickly come to the point that how does this concept translate into our Power BI sharing capabilities. Okay. So now that we know what is on-prem and what is cloud, um, I'll and right now so far what we have done is we have explored all possible aspects of Power BI, be it relationship, be it Power Query, be it DAX, writing DAX, and be it uh, creating visuals, right? So all those parts are done. Now the part which remains is sharing capabilities, Power BI sharing capabilities. So let's say that you create a chart. Okay. So let's say you build a dashboard much better than this, and you want to publish it, right? So if you want to publish it, you need to have office address, okay, office license, and then I'll talk about different types of license that we have. But for now you need an email address. I have created one email address, but you cannot log in here with your personal Gmail or personal office address. You need office or school address, which is like official email address that you need. And once you have that, then you can actually publish. Okay. and then I'll show you how to publish, and then we'll go on the other aspects of publishing. So as we have created a dashboard, I'll say publish. It will ask me to save first. So I'll say I'll save. So as soon as I save, I say sample dashboard. Okay. I saved it, and then I'll say publish. And as we have clicked on publish, whatever workspaces that you are part of, okay, those workspaces will appear over here. So for now, I have just one because it's free account. I have my workspace. So I'll select on that, and it says it is publishing. Okay. So as the database size is small, we are just dealing with 10,000 rows, it quickly publishes. Okay. But let's say if you are dealing with huge data set, it can take some time. It, in worst case scenario, it may take 15 to 20 minutes as well. So now that we have published, okay, so how do we access what we have published is we go to Power BI server. So we go that like we app.powerbi.com. Okay, so I go on this online website where we have all the dashboards that are being published for us. And again, here I have logged in with my email address. Okay, so because I have logged in with my email address, I can see whichever dashboards that are there. So I click on my workspace and I see the sample dashboard that I have just published. Okay, these are some tests I was doing yesterday, but this is the dashboard that I have published. It tells me, so there are two aspects of this report. One is this dashboard and one is this data set. Okay, and as you see, it shows as me as owner. What time was it refreshed? So I just refreshed it now, so it is telling me that what time it was published. If I do a schedule refresh, and I'll come to that part, it will show it over here that let's say I've scheduled it for next to every hour I want to do a refresh, then it will show that time for me to over here. Okay, and then I click on it and I see the same dashboard that I have published. Okay, any questions before I move ahead? Yes, Nikhil. Yes, yes. Yes, it is my not personal. So the way it works is that uh, if you want to create a work account or school account, you can go to Azure Active Directory. I'll show you that part. So we need, let's say you have office address, okay, or Microsoft address. So for me it is Abhishek Belkar at live.com. Okay, so all you need to go is portal.azure.com to create a work or email address. Okay, and then I'll sign in with my this address. Okay, so as you sign in, so this is your Azure portal. Okay, so you can spin up the MongoDB cluster, you can do a Cosmos DB, or let's say if you are owning one company, then you can actually create email addresses for new users that are coming in, and you can achieve that using Azure Active Directory, which is part of. Yep. No, 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 it's free. You can also do that. Like, let's say if you have paid office, so right, remember like we buy laptops and then those folks um, give us office lifetime free, and they give you some email address, to use that. So you can use that also. Go to just portal.azure.com, okay, and then just log in with your email address. And then if you see how many services that Microsoft offers, is just crazy. Like you can see blockchain, you can see Kubernetes, you can see things like I have now not even heard, like, and there are so many things that you can use, like Power Platform and everything. So you can use all these, and right now as you are the admin, you can see all those services that are part of. So the simplest one that actually we need to use is Azure Active Directory. Okay. So in Azure Active Directory, you are actually creating email address for your tenant, which is your office address. Okay. So let's say I work at a company, it's a big company XYZ, right? And then in that company, if I want to create new email address, I can do that using Azure Active Directory. So yeah, yeah. No, no, no. So like you go here and you say add user, okay, and I will say username. So I'll say Niket test, okay, and then and it automatically create Niket test at my this tenant that I have got, okay, and I say Niket, okay, and here let me create a password, and I'll create a password for the email that you have, and then create. Okay, so successfully created a user. And now if I go over here and if I sign out, I forgot the email address, but let's try to yeah, Niket test. Yeah, no, you cannot, yeah. So so I'll just no, this is free. You can use that for your yes, yes, correct, yeah. So mhm. Yeah, yes. Yeah, but you'll have to pay for it. So there is a like, so let's say this is the overall capacity, out of which for first 10 GBs it is free. But as soon as you hit 11 GB, your credit card gets like gets a hit. Like it will say, yeah. So you have to be really careful while you're using this. So so yeah. So where do I go? Add user and users. Yeah, I'll go to users, and these are the users that I've created. Okay, so this is the newest one that I've created. I'll just copy this. Okay, and then I'll log out. Mhm. Yes, you can. So there are two options. In free version, what you can do. So as you see, we have created this email address, and now I'm able to publish it as well. Like if I go to this Power BI, I can use your login, and that's it. Like I can share it through your address as well. Um, but yeah, to answer your question, yes, I can. Yeah, you can do that. So there is this embed report option, and you say either do SharePoint online or do publish to web, which is public. Okay, and when we say public, it is really public. Like there is no security feature here. Like anyone can access. So for like when you are speaking for a company that you're working or any company, this option is generally disabled, or it is good idea to disable this option. Otherwise anyone would just do publish to web, and then that would be visible to everyone. But if you are doing it for purely academic purposes, then you can just say publish to web, and then you can share that link with anyone, and they should be able to see the dashboard. So yesterday I was doing some testing, and I shared one dashboard with Shripad, and he was able to see, although he has no relation to whatever email address that I have created. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. So let's say you create some beautiful dashboard and you want to share it with your LinkedIn community. You can do this publish to web, and then it says create embed code. And once you create, uh, it tells you that they have you have created an embed code. Uh, they say before publishing the report, ensure you have right to share the data and visualizations publicly. And as you click on publish, you copy this link that you see over here. Okay, and I'll just paste it over here, and let's see if you guys can open it. Yeah, yeah. So that's how you can share the embed report version. So it's like you create one time report and you share, but the idea is like if you want to create a report which is like refreshed every time, and then like the data source is getting refreshed, it doesn't do that. It is just one time dashboard refresh that happens. So let's say if you want to have a report which has a scheduled refresh, or you create a dashboard which you want to be refreshed daily, then you will have to pay for it in the simplest terms. Yes, Costa. Yes, yes, that's a good question. So I'll go to the settings, and then I will say, where is admin? It is 10 GB to answer your question, but I'll just show you. So here we have manage personal storage, and it is telling me I've used so far 4 MB of 10 GB. So till 10 GB, it allows me to use or published, and these are the reports that I have developed. And yeah, purely academic purposes, I would say. Now the next thing is, once you start paying, what are the different licenses that are there? Okay, so there are three types of licenses. Okay, one is pro, one is premium per user, and one is premium capacity. Okay, so this premium per user they have recently added. Okay, so we'll just talk about pro first, which is the cheapest license of all. So the pro license is works like it has $10 per month fees. Okay, and let's say Sachin buys pro version, I buy pro version, then if I want to share a report, I can share it with only pro users. So I can share it with Sachin and he can only see if he has pro as well. Okay. So that's how pro works. And the refresh time in pro is, let me check. I think it's lesser, but they keep on changing. So I tend to forget refresh times. Pro. Yes. Yeah. Yes. 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 Uh, I can't find the difference. Let me see. Yes, it is here. Yeah. So here it is. So this is Pro. Okay. And per user per month, you pay $10 for it. Okay. The That's the Pro version. So let's say if you have three users, one user is actually creating the dashboard and other two users are actually just viewing the dashboard, then all three people need to have Pro license to view the report. Okay, then premium per user has all the functionalities of pro, but it has advanced AI and self-service data prep, and like I don't know what this means, but this is important. So it has AI features. Yeah, self-service is like you can create a report here, like you click on new and create a report here on the website itself without. Yeah. Yes, 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 yes. You can create a report and you can share it. So that is the another functionality. Unlock self-service, which is also like go here, and there is this analyze in Excel option. So like you are doing self-service for yourself. Like many users are not able to, are still not familiar with Power BI. They are good with Excel. So whatever data set that you have, it opens up in Excel, and from Excel you can do like analysis for yourself. Um, Right, 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 right. True, true. And then the best of all is premium service. Okay, so in premium service, which is, it is very costly as you see the number on it, but it has all the best features that we could think of. Like, you have a one premium capacity, and you have, let's say, four or five contributors, one administrator. So those four or five people can create reports that are accessible to the entire organization. Like, you can share reports in premium capacity that nobody even knows how to use Power BI, or nobody even knows what Power BI is. Likewise, I just shared a link over here, right? And you guys all accessed it. Similarly, when you have premium capacity, you can just share the link and say, hey, here is the report, here are the sales number from last week, last month, and they just click on it and they can see the Power BI, and they can bookmark it, so that for future references, and as your dashboard will be refreshed, the report will get refreshed. So if you are part of a big organization, first, like, you can test out by using pro license, do some point of like proof of concept, do some sample projects, and once they are happy with what you are producing, they would be ready to pay for this much amount and actually, create good Power BI ecosystem. So as you can see, you can contact the Microsoft sales team over here to buy this, and I don't know, maybe there is a possibility that they would negotiate and take this little less. So that's how a premium capacity, premium per user, and pro licenses are. Any questions? Because this is interview question, and you should be really comfortable to answer these questions. So if anyone asks in interview, what is the difference between Power BI Pro and Power BI Premium? You say that in order to share, both user and developer should have pro license. If you have a premium capacity, the user need not have a Power BI license. Even you can share reports of Power BI reports to external people in the organization. This is very important and critical. And how would you share to external users? Is you add that external user using Azure Active Directory. That, let's say, I work for a company which is called as FedEx, but I also want to share this report, let's say, to someone who is in, let's say, a pharma company, right? For some reasons. And then what that FedEx user needs to do is go to this Azure Active Directory, say new user, and add his username, like the external customer's username, in this address. And once he's able to add it, he can share this report externally as well. So, and that can be achieved through premium capacity. Okay, so whenever you are going for interviews, always just go through pro and premium capacities differences. Yes, Sripad. Yeah, of course. So, so that's how it is. It works. Um, Now going back to over here. Okay. Uh, I created this report yesterday. Okay. uh, and I was doing some analysis. It didn't make any sense. I'm trying to make a sense out of it. But point is that I've pulled this report from website directly. Okay, and if I want to understand that, okay, let's say if I want to see how that's happening, you go over here and say view lineage. Okay, so it tells me that it is taking from this website, Cricinfo, and then it is coming to this dashboard, this data set. And as this data set is coming over here, based on that underlying data set, we have created this report. Let's say that you are using multiple data sources for a report and you want to visualize how it works. You can go to this view lineage and see which data sources that that people have used to create this dashboard. Even that you can do that for other users as well. So let's say if you are admin, and let's say all five us are developers, and says let's say Shripad is admin, then he would be able to see the lineage for all the reports in case if anyone is having data breach issues or any other reasons. So that's how you can use view lineage. Now the next thing is refresh, right? So if I don't have the access, uh, license, and now think, okay, I want you all to think, if I want to refresh this, okay, this sample dashboard, now where is this data of sample dashboard is located at? It is in my, yeah, right, absolutely. But if I want to refresh it, uh, right now it is taking the snapshot of what I published, but the original data source is my local system, right? Yes, yes. So it is local system, and if you want to refresh it, you won't be able to, right? So either you need to put it somewhere that it should be able to refresh automatically. You cannot deploy it on local system and then expect it to refresh automatically. Even if it refreshed on your local system, you either want to do it manually, like the manual way would be to refresh this and then publish it again. So once you publish it again, the refreshed version will appear, but you don't want to do that, right? You are very busy people. So you want to do that using either SharePoint, OneDrive, website, or database. Okay, so from all these sources, you are actually pulling the data and then publish it. Okay, so then the connection is established and then it refreshes automatically. Okay, provided you need to have access to it. So let's say if you are connecting to a database, okay, let's say you have a SQL server database, okay, and then once you have that database, you create this report, and if there is no, like there is no local file which is involved, you can just say schedule refresh, and it will schedule, like it will refresh automatically every day for the time that you specify. Okay, for premium capacity, you can refresh data in like in 48 times in a day. Okay, so this is an interview question again. Like for a premium capacity, you can refresh data 48 times in a day. Like every 30 minutes you can refresh the data or report. Okay, so you go over here. So you see this refresh now, and the other one that you see is schedule refresh. So once you see on scheduled refresh, uh, right now my data is at local and I don't have paid version, that's why. But you can say this, click this on, and then you can set up the refresh frequency um, at Indian time IST, and you can refresh 48 times in a day. uh, with Pro you can refresh lesser time. I'll just come back to you with the exact number, but for premium per user and premium per capacity, you can refresh data 48 times in a day. Now think from one perspective, okay, that we spoke about cloud and on-prem, okay, and if I'm using just Azure, okay, I'm not using these three, okay, I'm just using Azure, okay, and my database is also on Azure, okay, and I create this report from Azure database, then you can publish this report without any data gateway. Okay, I'll speak to you what data gateway is. So let's say that you are publishing a report which has one source or all the sources of data coming from SQL server, and that SQL server is on-prem, which means it is within your company servers, your local server or your company server. In that case, you need the data gateway, okay, data gateway to establish that connection between on-prem and cloud. Okay, so this is something that you always need to do. So you don't have to do anything, your IT team will take care of it. So this is the gateway connection, and right now it is telling me there are no data gateways installed. But as you work in a bigger organization, that you will always have a data gateway which is installed, and it tells me use on premises or vnet data gateway, which means that in simplest language, it needs a communicator between this cloud, which is Azure, and on-prem, which is coming from your company. Okay. So you would always need data gateway, okay, to connect these two. Okay. But let's say if you are using Azure or OneDrive or SharePoint, because you're already using Microsoft data sources, in those cases you would not need data gateway. You can directly publish on Power BI without even use of data gateway. Okay, so if any data source which is not coming from Azure or Microsoft, it is coming from any other cloud providers, it is coming from on-prem, in that case you would need data gateway in order to establish connection between Power BI and data source. Okay, now there are two types of data gateway. Okay, you don't have to take headache of data gateway, like your IT team will take care of you or your admins will take care for you. So the two data gateways, one is personal data gateway and one is enterprise data gateway. And the most common way, or like the recommended, is the enterprise level data gateway. Okay, so just your for your thoughts, it's not that people would expect you to know how to install data gateway. No one expects you to do that. But this is for your knowledge that I'm saying, that because we are changing from on-prem to cloud or from other cloud providers like GCP or AWS to cloud, Azure cloud, we would need some sort of connection to establish relationship between those two, so that enterprise data gateway will fetch the data and then create dashboards for you. I hope like you're able to understand what I'm saying. I can imagine this is it can be a little complicated, but just remember that anything that is not Azure or Microsoft, you need a data gateway. Simple. Okay. In an interview, they might ask you like, what is data gateway? Just say that whenever we are creating anything on-prem or non-Azure clouds, and we are publishing on Power BI, so we are publishing on Azure, right? So because it's Azure and non-Azure connection, we need some sort of communicator between those two, and we can achieve that using data gateway. Okay, cool. So yeah, you can use this schedule refresh, and you can refresh the data 48 times in a day. Okay, what else I could think of? Okay, the other thing is, now let's say if we do get data, and if I do Power BI data sets, let's see what we see. We see sample dashboard, and we see all these three dashboard that I've published. So let's say if we publish a report and the underlying data set, we need to use another dashboard again, or we need to create another report again, then we can use the same data source. So the data source remains single, and you are creating another report based on it. Okay, so that way your performance is optimized. So that's how you can use data like Power BI data sets as well. Okay. Yes, yes, correct. Uh, like, mhm, mhm, yeah, 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 exactly, yeah, exactly. And then you can publish it again. And if you publish it again, the data set will remain same, and the reports will be too. So that way your performance is optimized. Um, and then the other thing I want to talk about, let me see. Mhm, mhm, mhm. Yes, that could be it. You don't have the permission for it. Like you can contact your admin, but ideally, if you are the contributor of the workspace, you should have the access to view the lineage. But if you create the report, you definitely would have access. But let's say if your organization, someone else has have created, and then you are not able to see, ideally you should be able to if you are contributor. But otherwise, you can contact the admin and ask him for lineage. Yes. Uh, yes. Correct. 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 So as an uh, no, so as an admin, I can set the access or I can set the rules like allow users to download. So if you are not able to see, maybe you just have a view license. You need to have a contributor account as well. Member, or I would say member or contributor. I might be confusing the names, but someone who know you who can publish the reports on this capacity. Then you would be able to download. No, we have not. We'll go there. Yeah, yeah. So, so yeah, those are the things. You can generate a QR code, and that QR code can also view your report. Then let's say that you develop a report, right? And there is a small bug that you see. Okay, a small bug that you see, and you just want to quickly do the change. You can just quickly go over here and make that change, and then save, and your report is saved. So if you go over here again, you see the change that right over there. So using this edit option, that you can actually create or build the report in the canvas of app.powerbi.com. Okay. So yes, Nikhil. No, yeah. Yes. So you can see the subscribe to report. So you can add a subscription, so that, and you can set up the cadence, that how much time, or the manual way of sharing is over here. I go this dashboard and I say share. Okay. And I can just put on the email addresses that I want to share. Right now, I won't be able to because this is a free account, but you can add as many users as you want and share the link across your company. So, okay. Yeah. So the data related alert you can set, as you go over here. You have an option of set alerts in premium capacity. Okay. So let's say your on-time performance was 80%, or you set up a threshold that whenever the on-prem performance drops below 70% or below, you can set up alert, right? Like here you have the option in premium capacity, that you can use, and you can set up that alerts. And whenever that threshold, the value goes below that threshold, you can share it with the users in your company, that the OTP has dropped 70% or below, and this is the report that you want to see. So you can do that using premium capacity. Yeah, yeah. There are many features that are not possible, that are not feasible, but yeah, the main is sharing capabilities. But yeah, like, and what they do is like every month or every alternate month they bring in something new, so it's even difficult to keep up with all those things that are coming in. So the other thing is that you if you have teams, and let's say as a team you are part of a group, and you have a, let's say, a channel in teams, right? So you can add your dashboards to Microsoft Teams as well. You can bring in them in chat, or you can add them using, you go to Teams and there is an option add, and then you can add Power BI reports that are published on premium capacity as well. So let's say if you are part of marketing group, then all the marketing related reports can be published in Teams, so they don't even have to go over here. They can just quickly view those all in Teams itself. Uh, yeah. Yes, 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 exactly, exactly. He wants us to buy, he wants to use all products. But yeah. Yes, true. Okay. Anything? Yeah. Anyone else had? Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Niket. Anyone else had any question? This could be a lot to take, I can imagine, but it is what it is. Okay. So another feature is that, let's say on this is a workspace, right? And you can have multiple workspaces. You can be part of multiple workspaces. Now, if you see a diamond shape, okay, after the workspace, it tells you that it is a premium capacity. Okay. Thumb rule. If you see a diamond, it's a diamond. Like it's the best capacity, it's the premium capacity. Okay. And let's say there are 10 reports. Okay. Out of 10 reports, there are 3 reports that you want to share it with specific group. Okay. So what you can do is you can go to these apps, okay, and you can create apps for your company. So if I see get apps, there are some apps that Microsoft have created, a similar app that you can create for yourself as well. Like for every workspace, let's say I want to put these 3 in an app. There will be an option which will say create an app. I'll just create an app, I'll add these 3, and I can create an app for myself. I can add a logo for that, and then people would just click on that link of the app, and they would be able to see all the cluster of Power BI reports that are present over there. So I'll show you an example. If you see your apps, you see get apps, and now if you have created that app in your organization, and in someone says get apps, your app will be visible over there, and you can just quickly like get that app. So let's say I want NFL analytics by P3. I'm not sure if I can get that, but let's see. I say get it now. So just like we install any app in a mobile, you can actually install the app over here in the apps. So as a developer, if you have a premium capacity, you can create apps as well, and you can have some cool logos, and you can share it with specific people. And as your dashboard gets refreshed, or sorry, your Power BI reports get refreshed, the apps would also get refreshed based on your data. So now I'll open it and let's see what we see. Hmm. I don't follow NFL, otherwise I would have it would have made any sense. But you all get the idea, right? Like we can have and create an app, and within that app we can have multiple dashboards that are plugged in or clustered together, and then you can see those apps. uh no, so let's say uh so, so you go over here and you see this one report, right? So if I publish these 3 reports in apps, then when if I create this app, then on the left hand side I will see these 3 reports that I have created. And like, so first I'll see SRT, then I'll see sample dashboard, and third would be RLS. So all these 3 would be present over here. And then let's say if I have additional pages within report, then I click on it, and then it will appear additional pages. So for now, as I understand, it is just one report that they have created, and that's why you see just one tab. But otherwise, you will say report one, and then page one, page two, page three, report two, page one, page two, page three. As you click on report, the pages will appear like page one, page two, page three. So these are the reports. Yeah. Yes. So whenever you go to workspace, there is this create an app option. And once you create an app option, it will ask you what is the name of that app. You can add any image as a part of a logo. And then it will ask you that which of the existing report in your workspace you want to push it over there in the apps. And then you can create an app for that. So here you will see the create an app option in premium capacity. Yeah. So when I was working for a company and it was quite Power BI savvy, and when I used to click on Get Apps, then you would have marketing web dashboards that people would be able to see. Then another would be manufacturing safety metrics reports all across all the globe. Then one would have engineering advances. It will show you all the engineering innovations that have taken place. So different, like within an organization, different teams or different departments were having this kind of a competition that which dashboards are the best, and it was kind of beautiful to see. So you can do that using Power BI apps. And I would recommend to create a Microsoft email address, go to Azure Active Directory, create a tenant for yourself. It's a simple process, and then once you have that, you can play around with these options that are there. Okay, so anything else that I think, apart from this, or you if you have any questions till that, I'm just quickly think of any other important topics that I want to take with Power BI service. Okay. The another thing I wanted to talk about is row level security, right? So row level security is very important. Now that we are aware of how DAX works, now we are aware of how data modeling works, and now we are aware of how Power BI services work. This is the best time for us to learn row level security. Okay. So let's say this is the dashboard. Okay. And what I'll do is I will create region and profit. Okay. Now let's say you have a requirement, and that requirement says that whenever a user logs in, he should be able to see, like we have four regional managers, and every regional manager should be able to see data for himself only, not for anyone else. Then there is a way you can do that. That is possible using row level security. So the idea is that whenever you create a dashboard, and in that dashboard, okay, uh, user logs in, like, okay, four of you are here. So let's say Shripad heads west, Niket heads central, Sachin heads east, and Kaustubh east heads west. Then whenever Sachin logs in, he should be able to see just east data within the same report, right? Not creating a new report for all the people. When Niket logs in, Niket should be able to see central, and so on and so forth. And no one should be able to see others data. Okay. So that is achievable using row level security. Okay. So we learned so far is creating visuals, creating dashboards, publishing to them, and then how can we share it with people. Now what we are learning is how we are restricting the access for from a same report that we have developed to certain users, and not able to show certain data to certain other users. So if you think of from the data point of view, what we are doing is that we are restricting the rows, right? So our data has 10,000 rows. Each region contributes to 2,500. So we want to make sure that per user we are restricting 7,500 rows based on one column value. Okay. And let's see how we can do that. So we go to this modeling, and you can create a new row level security using manage roles. Okay. Now let's say that I have this table, and I created these four email address, right? So these are the four people who should be able to see data for themselves. Okay. So I'll do, I'll just copy this and I will paste it. And as you see, it has automatically created a relationship. Okay. And if you click on this table, then we see that region wise we are having email address. So what we are saying, that west should be visible to only this email address, central should be for this, east should be for this email address, and south should be seen by this email address. Okay. So now if you go to this modeling and you say manage roles, you create a role, and I want this to be said for email address. Okay. And when I say email address, I want user principal name. Okay. I'll talk about what user principal name is, but bear with me. And once I click on this checkbox, it says there are no any like syntax errors. And now if I check on that, it tells me there is some error. So I'll just quickly edit that. I'll say okay. Now this is okay. So I'll save. Just give me one minute, guys. Okay. Now if I create a new measure, and for that measure I say user principal name, and then I create a table and I add that measure. So it is telling me that the login address that I have is laptop HP. Okay. So it doesn't work a great deal in Power BI desktop. But same, if I publish it and I log in through my email address, it will show my name and my email address, like my email address over here. Okay. Whichever email address that I'm logging in of. Okay. So what we are saying over here is that my table which has email address should be filtered by user principal name. Okay. And now carefully look at the relationship that we have created. Okay. The relationship says the data should be filtered, right? We looked at relationship and we spoke of filter flows, and I want to make sure that this is many to one, and I would just quickly say both, which I don't need. I can just do single, and I say okay. Okay. So what I have done is I have created one report which should be filtered based on the email addresses. And now I'll go and I'll publish this. Okay. I'm able to share my NFL analytics as well now that I've created. I don't think I will have access. Let's try if we can do that. If we have done that, oops, we have. I don't know. Okay. I'll publish it on my workspace. I just messed up Microsoft's one app of NFL. Okay. So I've published this report on my apps, my workspace. Okay. And now I'll go over here and I have this sample dashboard. So before we do that, there is this security option that is present over here. So I'll click on this security and I will add all these four email addresses that are part of that. Okay. So I'll add all these four. I'll say add, and then we can test whether it's working or not. I'll say save. Always forget to save, and then I'll just quickly say this email address. So I'm able to see for South, right? So that's how we can actually change and create dashboards or set up the row level security for different users. Okay. So the idea is to go to this manage users option. Okay. And manage roles and then set up the row level security using user principal name. Now this is interview question again, guys, that by which DAX function you can use the row level security. The answer is user principal name. Okay. You create a relationship and you set up the row level security using this function, and then by one to many relationship you can set the view. Okay. We'll quickly do testing for any other, let's say for this email address. So I can see it for West, right? So all the data is restricted. So if this email address logs in, he should be able to see data for himself only. Okay. And now the user principal name, it tells me the correct user principal name when I'm logging in through here. The same email address that I'm doing testing for. Okay. Viewing as this email address. Now if I do it for test user 2, test user 2. Okay, so this is how user principal name works. User principal name shows what is the email address, and we have effectively used that to filter the data. Okay, so that's how it works. Any questions over here? Because I can imagine like this is a lot, but row level security, very important feature you all should know as a Power BI developer. And seriously, let me know if you haven't understood 1%. I can do this again tomorrow. Everything is clear, like any questions or any doubts in this? Okay, so now we also looked at row level security. Let me just see. No, I think I'm done mostly. The next part that I wanted to talk about is, can I move ahead or any questions on this row level security? Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about is the connectivity modes. Okay, so whenever we are importing a database, there is import and there is direct. Okay, so when we say import, it means that the data is being fetched in the memory of our PC. Okay, and Power BI file, we are we are putting it all the data into Power BI file, so Power BI file size grows. Okay, so let's say if you add 100 MB of data, then your Power BI file size would be, after a little compression, it would be 90 or 80 MB or 95 MB. But the idea is that whenever you do import, you are doing in memory calculations. So you're importing all the data, like taking the snapshot, okay, and then creating a report and then refreshing it and publishing it. So that is how import works. The direct query is something which is, there is a direct connection to the database and you are not actually um, importing the data into your system. Okay, so that is how direct query works. So direct query is kind of a live connection, but like, but the problem is that you cannot do any DAX calculation or very limited DAX calculation, but definitely there are no Power Query functionalities that you can use. So if you're using direct query for your data set, first requirement, the data set should be really huge. Okay, and all the calculations should be done at the source itself. So whenever you are importing data, you are just creating visuals and publishing the report. Okay, so that's the difference between direct query and the import query. Import query, you take the data in, do all the calculation, write DAX measures, do relationships, and then publish. Whereas in direct query, there are very limited functionalities of data manipulation, or rather I'll say that you cannot do much with power query. You cannot do much with calculated columns. You can create calculated measures in direct query, but no power query. So that is how difference between direct and import. And there is another one, connectivity mode, which is live. Now it is limited to very limited, like Azure analytics services or Azure Cosmos DB and or SSAS reports, and then that is also again limited for DAX or Power Query options. So interview question, folks, that what are the different connectivity modes? Import, direct, or live. Okay, so live have a very limited functionality, limited data sources as well. But if your data size is huge, but you can think that you can manage through a good relationship, I would say go for import option, because in import you have a lot of functionalities of Power Query. Direct query, I would say, is when your data size is very humongous. That in that case, use direct query. So that is something. Yeah, yeah, Niket. Right. Yes, direct query is direct query and live are same. Only difference is direct query works with all the database type, and live works with tabular data models of Azure specific data sets. So that's why there is a difference between live and direct. They call it different, but the way you mentioned it is absolutely right. That whatever changes are happening on the source are reflected over here in the dashboard. So it is direct connection. Yeah. Yeah, right. And that's why, to answer your question, yeah, sorry, please go ahead. Yeah, and that's why, like, nobody, like, I haven't used direct query still. I use import even though I'm dealing with millions of data, because I want to have that functionality. I want to have those calculations in place. So that's why we use the import query most of the cases. So even if you optimize, like we spoke about optimization of dashboard, right? Like we spoke of how we can use relationships, how we can use those measure killer options that are there. So I would recommend that unless your data size is more than 100 million rows, okay, or all your data calculations are taken care at the source, do not use data query, use import. So that's what I feel as well, and that's the limitation. Like whenever you import, like do direct query, this data view gets disappeared. It disappears. You just see relationship and the report view. Right. Yeah. That in that case also you will not get. So you're right. So I would say direct query very limited. Like if your data size is really huge, or you're doing something like so the way you can do it, like as you said, the production data could be difficult to deal with. What I do in that case, I create a view in the production using my credentials. I create a view. I like join tables. I do all the calculations at the source, and then I'll import the data in direct query. But again, that is little problematic. So like again, it will not give all the benefit of Power BI. But yeah, that's one way I would deal with direct query. But otherwise, I would say 90 or 80% of time you can achieve everything using import if you create a right data model. Yeah. So interview question again, what are the different connectivity modes? It's direct, import, and live. Okay. So yeah, that covers, I guess, all of the things. And yeah, I guess I missed out on couple of things which I didn't do at the time of covering those topics. Is if you click on this numerical columns, and here you can click on this new group, and you remember like we generally do in analytics, like 0 to 10,000, 10,000 to 20,000, so we create buckets. So you can create bins like we do in Tableau, and then you can set up the minimum value, maximum value, and the bin size. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, so for any numerical measure, you click on these three dots and you say new group. Okay, and as you clicked on this new group, it creates bins for your data set. So it tells you what is the minimum value, maximum value, and then it automatically sets the bin size, but you can change it to, let's say I want to do it for every 100. Okay, or every 1,000, and let's see how it creates the bins then. Okay, and these bins that if you import, um, it creates that those bins for yourself. So we might be able to say that, like we can do if else condition, or using switch we can create buckets, like from this to this range specify this names, this to this range specify an a name for it. So rather than that, you can actually create bins, and those bins can be used for visualizations. I guess in Tableau it's the similar, right? Or is it some different in bins in Tableau? Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Right. Right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. So yeah, you can create bins. The way you can do it is add a group, and then you can do this bins. Thanks, Niket. So yeah, I think it's quite similar to what Tableau does, but little different in terms of terminology. So yeah, with that being said, I think I'm done in terms of all my content. There is one topic that Niket spoke about is member and admin. I'll share the documentation for that. Um, Apart from that, I think we should connect tomorrow for just half an hour and do some recap, or think of all the Power BI topics that you might think that are important, and then we quickly I'll do a revisit of those. But apart from that, I think I'm done. Anything else you want me to cover into the tomorrow's call? Otherwise, I think I'm good. There are some date related calculations that I want to cover, which I'll cover tomorrow. But apart from that, anything else you want me to also explain? Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, definitely. We can do another session, but the point is my next 2 weekends are blocked. So my next weekend I'm going to Mumbai, and next weekend after that is going to Tadoba. But we can do like any time in between. You can reach out to me individually, or we can connect regroup as one group, like and like we can do whichever way works for you. Like like you can post it in a group, and then we can discuss. Um, Yeah, definitely. I'm more than open to have a couple of more sessions, and in case if you have any questions. But 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 yeah, I think, yeah, it will be good if you can do some practice, and if you have any DAX scenarios or questions, I'm sure you all want to explore more on DAX part. But I think if you do those calculated columns and calculated measures correctly, then you would be good. But yeah, definitely I can think of some scenarios, and we can have another session for Power BI, um, for for DAX, or any other topic you might feel that this is not clear to us, and then you can let me know, and then I can explain that as well. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, let's do. Yeah, yeah. So let's do tomorrow, so that anything pending gets covered, and yeah. So, and then let me know, like, we can, as all of you have my number, like, we can connect anytime we want and quickly resolve, or like we can have some monthly meetups once in a blue moon, so that just to share where we are in our journey, and then what we see as a future career prospects or anything. So I'm happy either way. We have a group, we have each other's numbers. But yeah, let's meet tomorrow for some time, and then and we call it a day from there. Okay, that sounds good. Nice.